because they have established a wonderful product essentially with just 3 ingredients, and that's water, the Bambara groundnut, and coconut oil. And
as we segue into the products themselves, what I want to highlight is this Bamnut. And is that the nickname for the Bambara groundnut, Bamnut?
Yeah, so we came up with Bamnut as a short version, as an acronym for the Bambara groundnut, which in reality is a legume. It's a Vignosubterriner, which is basically a legume that helps us fix nitrogen organically in soils that are essentially today degraded and left behind by intensive agriculture. The Bamnut word came about in Singapore. We actually did not quite know when we started using it. We did not quite know how the Americans will pronounce it, and then we found out, oh, it's the Bamnut. So it all turned out to be so witty and entertaining, and just a perfect fit for a better, to be honest. So here we go. Yeah, Bamnut is our shorthand for it.
Okay, so let's talk about, because that's a main ingredient in all of your food, let's talk about what is a Bamnut, why is it magical and unique, how did you find it? Let's just tell us about it before we dive into the actual food.
So I was walking through the world of agro-food over the past 20 years, and I've always been hugely concerned about the massive speed of land degradation, particularly on arable land. And that's getting accelerated because of climate change, and the weather is changing, and the rains and the monsoons are not hitting regularly anymore. So it becomes increasingly more difficult to plan the planting season, to make sure that you are having the seeds in the ground before the rains hit them, and so on and so forth. So it becomes really, really challenging for folks. So land degradation has always been a huge concern of mine, because on the flip side of that, we are losing about 25 soccer fields worth of arable land every minute, while at this very same minute, the same amount of primary forests are being cut down. So if you compare and contrast these two figures, what it tells me is that in order to make way for the old food industry, we actually cut primary forests and we leave land behind. And that is the wrong thing to do. So that is one aspect of things. The other aspect of things is I had once the fantastic opportunity to have an interview with Dr. Roy Steiner of the Rockefeller Foundation. And he gave a casual shout out, and he said, nowhere in the world do we produce and consume enough legumes. And I was thinking, why does he say that? But then it's quite obvious if you think it through, because we are depending so much on cereal crops that the land that basically holds the cereal crops is deprived from organic nitrogen fixing crops like the legumes do. And in the absence of nitrogen being fixed through the legumes, we throw endless amounts of synthetic fertilizers on the ground in order to make up for it. And that's an aspect of things that also worried me, because today, I mean, this is years and years and years ago, right? But today, the input costs have gone through the roof because of the wars that are unraveling all over the world. And hence it goes more and more expensive to do so. So degraded arable land on one bucket is, I was basically going through the world, through my work with that sort of lens. And then there's this whole water issue. We are big time irrigating crops, but what does that do? It just slows down the loss of water tables, because the moment we take water out of the ground, the water tables are collapsing. And I have numbers to that. I've used to start a business somewhere in India a long time ago, and it used to be 30 meters a bore well, and today it's probably 90 or 120 meters. And so water is basically a huge issue. There was another lens through which I looked at. And then I was at a conference in Jakarta, and so I happened to run into a scientist, Prof. Syed, and he said to me that he works on the Bambara groundnut. It's a complete crop. And I said, what? A complete crop? Oh, that's interesting. So what does that mean? And I started to really explore into that much more deeper. And a complete crop turns out to be essentially a crop that has all macronutrients in the sort of right balance that we need. On top of it, it has all 9 essential amino acids that we need. It has rich fatty acids, quality fatty acids, as well as complex carbohydrates, so fiber. You remember the forgotten macronutrient fibers for our microbiomes? So I got really, really inspired. So I looked up the amino acid profile and I saw that, oh, it is rich in glutamic acid, aspartic acid. So these are very, very cool amino acids in terms of generating nice flavors. And off I was. I organized the first couple of 5 kilos and the trial started. And that's years and years and years ago. In the meantime, the Bambara groundnut actually taught us a few lessons because it's a very, very hardy nut and it really takes an effort to make cool products out of it.
That's amazing. So it's called a complete product. Is that correct? That's
a complete food, or complete crop, or complete food
crop. Okay. And it really is this I tend to be whimsical by nature. So it is this magical crop. And over time, is it going to be a part of many, like right now, if we go to your website, we're going to go to whatifoods.com. So that's whatif-foods.com. And when I'm there, I see Bamnut milk. I see noodles with seasonings, only noodles. And then there's bundles and swag and all kinds of delicious things. In the future, are we expanding that well beyond, or what's the scope?
We would love to explore new categories as we build our business. There are so many occasions throughout a day where we can actually incorporate the Bambara groundnut in exciting products, and we look forward to doing that. Our focus right now is definitely our milk portfolio. It's a wonderful product. I encourage everybody to have a little taste and judge for yourself. So we have a dear client of us in the Los Angeles region, and there's a coffee roaster, and he called out to us, "Look, this is as close to cow milk that I've ever seen a plant-based milk." So we call it planet-based milk to be. I have to say again, shout out to my team on the R&D side of things, because they have established a wonderful product essentially with just 3 ingredients, and that's water, the Bambara groundnut, and coconut oil, and the rest is essentially technology behind the scenes that actually makes it then foam nicely, very stable foam, small bubbles, so you can do latte art. And our Airy is essentially the one that I would use for a nice drink, like a shake or something like that. And in between there is the everyday that goes essentially into my cereals on in the morning. So that's our little portfolio and our focus for the time being.
So you've given us a lot of knowledge, a lot of insight, a lot of optimism for the future. Tell us how we can help you. Tell us where to find you online. We've mentioned your website, but let's talk about that again. Let's talk about where to find you on social media. But so your website is whatif-foods.com. Is that the best place to go to find your service and your offers?
It's the perfect knowledge pool for everything that we do. We are very, very transparent with regards to the activities that are going on in our WhatIf Foods world. Please come and check our blogs out. Put yourself on the subscriber list and find our newsletters every now and then. You get updates from us. Of course, you can order online at our store as well. You can also find us on Amazon. Amazon WhatIf Foods, you will find our offerings, particularly the noodles, as well as the milk. And then over the past 6 months or so, we have really started to be in supermarkets and on the shelves, predominantly on the East Coast today, so the New York area, as well as in Giants further up north, as well as Pacific Northwest since last week, Larson's, and so on and so forth. So we are looking forward to actually get in more and more shops and bring our products physically to your doorsteps or into your local store and local shop. Please have a look at our offering.
That's fantastic. And from a social media point of view, which social channels are you on, and what's your name on those channels?
WhatIf Foods on TikTok is our most fun and engaging channel that we are using, particularly in the US, actually all over the world in the meantime. And then, of course, Instagram is another big one. Who wants to find out a little bit, probably a little bit more of the business aspect of things, come and find us on LinkedIn. Here, I'm talking quite frequently about what I'm up to and what I'm doing and where I am and what I'm exploring. And that's about it. So it's those three major channels.
TikTok, Instagram, and then LinkedIn.
Yes.
Perfect. I love learning, and I love learning in fun ways, and that's definitely what you're achieving. So thank you so much. And the milk sounds great. The noodles sound great. I can't wait to go back on your website and go shopping. So thank you so much for your time today, Chris. And I appreciate your message of optimism. It's a great way to keep the day bright and sunny.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to be here, to be on your show. And yeah, I look forward probably to the next time after you have tasted our product.
There you go. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.